Yo, what is up, guys? It is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, back at today with another fantasy football video. Today's video, I got you guys the Week 17 tight end start or sit decisions. Now, before I get into these Week 17 tight end start or sit decisions, I'd like to give you guys a word from my friends and my sponsor over at OverlayDFS.com. OverlayDFS.com is my favorite way to play daily fantasy sports. Now, obviously, this channel is based off of fantasy football, but I still play NBA daily fantasy, and if you guys are new to it, you can come and play with me and join me as well there. I play pretty much every single day, and I have won some money on there, so I have gotten a bit better at that. But this week, right now, the best game to play for NFL, and the only game to play for NFL, is this quarterbacks only game. It is an $11 entry, but you're only playing the quarterbacks in this game for week 17. Now, obviously, a lot of strategy is going to be different in this type of game. It's just all about the quarterback. You don't have to worry about the running backs, the wide receivers, or the tight end, and it is very simple to play on this website. All you have to do is make, for the quarterbacks only, make 5 picks plus 3 alternate picks in case someone doesn't play. Someone ends up getting hurt before the game. They end up not getting the go. It is this simple. Pat Mahomes versus Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers versus Jameis Winston, Dak Prescott versus Ryan Tannehill. Who scores more fantasy points? It is that simple. Anyone can do it. So please make sure to check out OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description. Come and play with me this week. There will be a separate video later in the week explaining my picks on the website. And we are back. Please make sure to check out OverlayDFS.com. Link down below in the description. And let's get right in the video. Week 17 tight end start or sit decision. Now, the first game here, we got the Packers at the Detroit Lions. And in this game, I'm going to be sitting down both tight ends in this matchup. To me, this game just screams the Packers smacking the Lions down by just running the rock about a gazillion fucking times with Aaron Jones. And I just do not trust Jimmy Graham in this matchup. To me, Jimmy Graham is a huge dice roll every single game. He's either going to be scoring you guys like 0 points or he scores you 15. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I would just not take the risk in this game in your fantasy football championship with Jimmy Graham. For the Detroit Lions, they have a mix and max of tight ends. They got a tight end carousel over there in Detroit. I do not trust any of those tight ends, especially with David Blau at the quarterback position. Next game here, we got the Jumbo Jets at the Buffalo Bills. I'll be sitting down both tight ends in this matchup. I really do not like any of these New York Jets tight ends after Herndon did not play and then Ryan Griffin went down. It is just a complete shit show for these Jets tight ends, just like with the team we spoke about before. Detroit is a carousel of tight ends after those guys ended up getting hurt. So right now, I'm just not going to be trusting the Jets, and I'm just going to sit all of them down. I'm also going to be sitting down Dawson Knox one time. If you're with me, I'm reading recently that they're believing that some of these Bills starters are just not going to play. So I would not trust Dawson Knox with a backup quarterback, or if Dawson Knox even gets into the game that much, because he is a starter. He is the starting tight end on their team, so who knows if they want to risk getting Dawson Knox one time, if you're with me. Hurt. Next game here, we got the Miami Dolphins at the New England Patriots, and I'm going to be sitting down both tight ends in this matchup. Licky on Mike Gesicki, I do not trust in this matchup. This New England defense is too good for me to trust Mike Gesicki. Now, I know if he ends up scoring a touchdown, he will probably put up a decent or even a good game if he ends up scoring that touchdown, but I'm just not going to roll the dice on that one against the New England Patriots defense. I'm also going to be sitting down Ben Watson in this game. This year, Ben Watson really has not done shit. A lot of people believe that since Brady has a love affair for Gronk that, oh, he's going to throw the ball to Benjamin Watson all the time. Benjamin Watson's good. He's a good tight end. He can do something. And you know what fucking happened? Benjamin Watson hasn't done jack of all fuck. You do not want to trust your fantasy championship on Benjamin Watson. Next game here, we got the Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. I'll be sitting down all of the Chicago tight ends. That's supposed to say Chicago, not Minnesota tight ends, but as well as the Minnesota tight ends. Kyle Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, as well as Mr. Irv Smith. I do not trust any of them up against the Chicago Bears. I think that this Vikings team may be in the fraudulent category. They may be frauds, if I'm being completely honest with you. Without Dalvin Cook, they look atrocious, and they're playing up against the Bears. I know the Bears are not a good team, but their defense is pretty good, and I just would not trust Kyle Rudolph, the red-nosed reindeer, up against this Bears defense. And for the Chicago tight ends, there's just really no one there. It's a carousel of tight ends. Trey Burton didn't do shit at all this year. He's not playing anymore. And they have a bunch of other guys, just a bunch of no-name motherfuckers that may end up scoring a touchdown, but you don't want to roll those dice dice in fantasy football for your championship game. Next game here, we got the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Chargers in Kansas City. And I like both tight ends in this matchup. I actually love both tight ends in this matchup. Travis Kelce is obviously the number one tight end for me on the week. The Chiefs want to win this game. The Chiefs want to blow the Chargers' ass out of this world. The Kansas City Chiefs are going to put up points in this game. They are going to give the Chargers the dirty dick. They are going to dick them the fuck down, and I believe Travis Kelce gives them a nice hefty skull fucking in this game. I think that Hunter Henry puts up a good game. He's actually been pretty quiet the last couple of games, but that's because he's been getting the ball thrown to him. They just haven't been really touchdowns. I think in this game up against the Chiefs, he could certainly find the end zone and be worthy of a start. I am just a bit worried about Mr. 12 Kids, Phillip Rivers, not playing too well thus far this season. Next game here, we got the Browns at the Cincinnati Bengals. And before I get into this, I'd like to ask you guys, could please click that subscribe button down below if you guys have enjoyed the video thus far. I'm going to be sitting down both tight ends in this matchup. Tyler Eifert just really has not been trustworthy at all this season. I know last week he actually played pretty good up against the Miami Dolphins, but he has not really put up a bunch of games consistently in a row recently where I feel like I could trust him. I know the Browns defense isn't that good, but Tyler Eifert and this Bengals offense are not very good either, so I just really do not trust him. The only guy I really trust on the Bengals this week is actually Andy Dalton, as well as Tyler Boyd and Joe Mixon, of course. And Demetrius Harris, one of the Browns tight ends, I do not trust him. David Njoku seems like he just doesn't want to fucking play football, so fuck it. Don't start any of the tight ends in this game. Next game here, we got the New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers. And Jared Cook has been playing quite well the last couple of games. It's clear that Drew Brees has found a love affair just like he had with Jimmy Graham just that a few years ago. Actually, it wasn't a few years ago. It was a while ago now. But obviously, you know what I'm talking about. Jared Cook has been great in fantasy football these last couple of games. I believe up against the Carolina Panthers, a defense that got fucking destroyed. Destroyed at the hands of Jacoby Brissett, Jacoby money bags gave him the money gag. They were fucking him all night long, and I think that the Panthers defense is atrocious. I think that Jared Goff could put up a humongous spot in this game. I'm going to be sitting down third leg Greg Olsen in this game. I just do not really trust any of these Panthers guys, especially with Will Grier. Will Grier just is not looking all that good. Next game here, we got the Atlanta Falcons at the Buccaneers. I like both tight ends in this matchup. Obviously, I like Austin Hooper a lot more because Austin Hoop, shoot a three on him. He has been playing pretty fucking well ever since he returned from that injury. He's on an offense that needs weapons, and he's one of those big weapons for that team. He's playing up against the Buccaneers, whose run defense is quite good, but their pass defense is suspect at best. I know what you might be thinking. Nick, Deshaun Watson played terrible last week up against the Buccaneers. Why wouldn't Matt Ryan play terrible against them as well? Well, it's because that's just not going to fucking happen. Matt Ryan is going to put up a pretty good game in this game, and I believe Austin Hooper finds the end zone in this game. Now, I know you also might be thinking, Nick, O.J. Howard didn't do anything last week. He really hasn't done anything all this season. Why do you believe in him now? This Falcons defense is fucking atrocious against the tight end. They're going to split the Red Sea. O.J. Howard is going to score all over these guys. It is a very easy spot for O.J. Howard to succeed in this game, especially with Mike Evans and Godwin gone. And obviously last week, O.J. Howard didn't put up the greatest game. He was around 8-9 points, but he dropped so many balls that were wide open. He would have had, I don't even know. He had like 45 yards. He probably would have had 80 or 90 yards and potentially a touchdown if he just caught some of those balls. And Jameis was a bit more on. I think Jameis is even more on in this game up against a trash Falcons defense. Next game here, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to be starting up Jack Doyle in this game. Now, I know Doyle actually has not been doing all that much the last couple of games, but this matchup up against the Jacksonville Jaguars is a bit too juicy to let him ride the pine in. This Jacksonville defense is very, very bad up against the tight end. I think that Jack Doyle puts up a big spot this week in fantasy football. I think he has a good game up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm going to be sitting down all the Jacksonville tight ends, which is the case for some of these teams where they just really don't have a tight end. At the beginning of the year, they had a few tight ends that were actually pretty good, that were kind of start-worthy if you were feeling a bit dangerous. But then now, more recently, they just have a bunch of fucking no-names. And if they scored a touchdown, I would be surprised because I wouldn't even know who the fuck that guy was because he's so irrelevant on the team. Do not start any of these Jacksonville Jaguars tight ends. Next game here, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Football Giants. So I'm starting up both tight ends in this game, given Zach Ertz played. Now, last week, up against the Dallas Cowboys, Zach Ertz got a bit banged up. He got hit in the rib. I don't know how the fuck he came back into the game, and he was fine. Obviously, the Eagles need to win this game, so I think he does actually get to play. But I like Dallas Goedert a lot more because I believe, personally, in my humble opinion, that he will be getting a lot more looks in this game, a lot more snaps in this game because he's the healthy one on the team. Their wide receiver core for the Eagles is decimated. Obviously, at the beginning of the season, looked good. Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz, all great options. Now, they're without Deshaun Jackson and likely without Alshon Jeffrey as well. So I think Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert are good starts, but I honestly would prefer Dallas Goedert this week. This Giants defense is not all that good. I'm going to sit down Caden Smith on the week. Now, Caden Smith has actually been pretty on and off the last couple of games. He is an okay start in this game up against the Eagles, who really can't stop the tight end position. But last week, they shut down the Dallas Cowboys, so I would be a bit worried about starting Caden Smith in this matchup. Next game here, we got the Arizona Cardinals at the LA Rams. I'll be starting up Tyler Higbee God. Some people are calling this guy Little Kittle, Pocket Kittle. I don't know what the fuck you want to call him just because he's a tight end and is a fucking monster. I'm going to call him Gronk Jr. This motherfucker is a god. Last week, I thought he wouldn't do anything because Gerald Everett is back. He's going to stop all of his production. That's what I was thinking, if I'm being completely honest with you. I'm just not mocking you. That's what I was thinking. But then he went out there on, I think that was a night game up against the 49ers, and he just literally dirty dicked them. He was fucking them on repeat, pounding that ass. He was destroying that defense, and Tyler Higbee is going to put up another huge spot up against this Arizona Cardinals defense. The Cardinals defense is atrocious. They are not even going to be out there. They do the bird box challenge, or they try to run around and try to block guys with their fucking eyes closed. They're like Stevie Wonder out there. I don't know what the fuck they think they're doing. I think that Tyler Higbee puts up a big spot in this game. Knock one time if you are with me. I'm going to be sitting down Gerald Everett in this matchup. I just don't trust him. It seems like these Rams love Tyler Higbee. One thing I would be worried about, though, is if they end up benching Jared Goff. It seems like I'm reading some reports that the Rams are going to be benching some of their starters, and obviously Jared Goff is a guy they pay millions of dollars for, and he's not a guy that they're going to want to be starting in this useless game up against the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to be sitting down all the Arizona tight ends. They don't really have one guy, a marquee guy on the team, so I'm just going to sit down all of those guys. Next game here, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Baltimore Ravens. And to me, this is an easy game to predict. Now, obviously, it seems like the Baltimore Ravens are also going to be sitting down a lot of their starters. Lamar Jackson obviously not playing. Mark Ingram obviously not playing. Mark Andrews may play but get limited snaps with RG3, and I don't really trust him up against the Steelers defense with RG3 at the helm, so I'm going to sit down Mark Andrews. Obviously, Hayden Hurst is going to get a lot more looks in this game, but I still don't believe he is necessarily a start-worthy tight end. On the other side of the ball, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, and Vance McDonald is really just an okay tight end. He'll probably score like 6-7 PPR points. If that's what you want in your championship, you can go ahead and start it, but that's not what you want at all. Fuck Vance McDonald. Let him ride the pine in your fantasy football championship. Next game here, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans, and I like Jonnu Smith in this game, but he is very hot or cold, fucking like Shaquille O'Neal. You know, he's the hot and cold guy. Or Icy Hot, I think is what he's sponsored by. It's whatever. That was a terrible fucking joke. I'm sorry. But Jonnu Smith is just in or out. He's up or he's down. I don't know what the fuck to do with Jonnu Smith. I'm going to start him. I believe he puts up a good game up against this Texans team. But I wouldn't be surprised if he shit the bed due to the fact that sometimes Ryan Tannehill just does not see the tight end out there. I'm going to be sitting down Darren Fells in this game. He is a very, 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 very touchdown-dependent tight end. If he finds that touchdown, you're not disappointed. If he does not find the end zone, you are going to be pissed off and punching yourself all night long for starting Darren Fells. So I'm going to let him ride the pine in my fantasy football championship. Next game here, we got the Oakland Raiders at the Denver Broncos. I'm going to be starting up both tight ends in this matchup. I like Darren Waller in this game. Darren Waller has also been a guy like Hunter Henry who's been playing quite well, but just not really finding the end zone as of recently. He's obviously a top 10 guy on the week. The Denver Broncos defense is not that good, and I think that Darren Waller has an okay game in this game, a top 10 performance. And then there's Noah Fant. Drew Horsecock Lock loves throwing the ball to big man Noah Fant, and I think that Noah Fant puts up an okay spot in this game. Not a top 10 guy, much more of a top 12, top 14 type of guy, but that definitely warrants a start in fantasy football. Next game here, we got the Washington Redskins at the Dallas Cowboys, the Sunday Night Football Special. I'm going to be sitting down both tight ends in these matchups. Actually, there's a lot of tight ends because the Washington tight ends, they just use a bunch of fucking guys Sit them all down. Jordan Reed, disappointment. Vernon Davis has not just been back. He just hasn't been doing anything. And Jason Witten hasn't really done shit. He was a safe tight end a bit before these last couple of games, and then recently has been shitting the bed big time for your fantasy football team. I had to actually go and special order them on Amazon to get a whole lot of them for all of you Jason Witten owners because he has not done shit. So I'm going to let him sit down in my fantasy football championship. And the final game here, the Monday Night Football special between the San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to be starting up George Kittle-Me-Timbers in this game. I believe George Kittle puts up a huge spot in this game up against the Seahawks. George Kittle has been dominant the last couple of games. He just gets targets on targets on targets on targets, and targets are key in fantasy football at the tight end position and at the wide receiver position and even at the running back position and at the quarterback position if that motherfucker can catch the ball. But George Kittle, you're going to trust in this game. Big trust like the Ravens fucking offense. I believe George Kittle puts up a huge spot in this game. Jacob Hollister as well has been not that hot the last couple of games, but he has found the end zone actually a couple of times, and I believe that he is a guy that Russell Wilson really does love to target, even if he's not hitting Tyler Lockett, not hitting DK Metcalf. He still has that safety net in Jacob Hollister, especially with all these running backs gone on the team, and now they have to rely on Marshawn Lynch. Are they really going to rely on the Skittle Man all that much? I'm not sure, so Jacob Hollister is definitely a start guy for me this week against the 49ers, even though their defense is actually pretty good. Thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you ended up enjoying, please make sure to click that subscribe button down below. Make sure to click on one of the videos that is also on the screen. You know, it's like over here as well. Also down below me is the subscribe button. I'm sorry that I hit the mic. I love each and every single one of you motherfuckers. Make sure to check out overlaydfs.com. Link down below in the description. Have a great rest of your day. Have a blessed rest of your day. More videos coming soon. I love you all. Goodbye.